Alright, hey guys, today we're taking a look at a wireless link cable for the Game Boy Advance. Now I know some of you are saying, wait, didn't Nintendo already make a wireless adapter for the Game Boy Advance? Well, yes, they did, but that wasn't a link cable replacement. This was a separate adapter for wireless communication. It only supported a handful of games, and even less in America. This is a wireless replacement for a standard link cable. It's advertised to work with hundreds of games, so why have I never heard of this before? According to the back of the packaging, it looks very easy to use. Simply plug it in, boot up your game in multiplayer, and then play. It even has a status light to tell you how good your connection is. So sounds pretty good, right? Alright, let's go ahead and try it out. So I go ahead and plug it into my Game Boy and it restarts my game. That's kind of weird. Well, maybe that was just a small glitch. Nope, it did it on the other Game Boy too. Okay, not off to a great start. Let's start with something simple. We're going to do a simple data sync between these two games. Alright, and nope, it's not working. I thought this was supposed to be a simple to use plug and play device, but looking at the Amazon reviews, other people are having troubles too. It looks like about half of the negative reviews are people thinking it was a clone of the original Game Boy Advance wireless adapter and are confused at why they couldn't connect to one, and the other half just couldn't get it to work. But after a bunch of trial and error, I actually found out you actually have to pair these devices together. It does not mention that anywhere on the box, but here's the pairing procedure. First, with both Game Boys off, insert the wireless link adapters. Second, turn them on within a few seconds of each other. It doesn't have to be the exact same time. The lights on both units should start flashing slowly. Both links are currently in discovery mode. They're trying to find each other, so don't press any buttons on your Game Boy just yet. If the LED goes out on both units at about the same time, that means they've successfully paired. That LED will stay off until you actually start transmitting any data. So go ahead and boot up your game in multiplayer mode. If you wait too long when turning on a second link, you may see the first one flashing much faster. That's okay, as long as they were turned on close enough together, they should both slow down and then eventually connect. Alright, so let's go ahead and test our link with a quick data transfer. And hey, it works. We were able to transmit data wirelessly between these two Game Boys. This game doesn't even support the official wireless adapter. Alright, so now for something a little bit more complicated, we're going to try to do a battle. Real-time data transfer, let's see how it goes. And it loaded up just fine, no problems here. The one thing that's kind of hard to test for is latency. So what I decided to do was, I decided to do a little split screen right now. On top, we have the wireless links, and I'm just moving up and down on the screen. On the bottom, I'm using an official Game Boy Advance link cable. So I'm going to slow them down a little bit right now and tell me if you can see a difference. So next thing we're going to test is connection quality. This is super important for multiplayer, but even more so for co-op games. The game I use for this test is Shining Souls 2. This game is very strict. If you get disconnected even for a second, you'll lose your entire gameplay session. All your progress will be lost and there's no option to rejoin. So I put it through a stress test, multiple hours of constant data transmission, and wow, even after 5 hours of constant data, it never disconnected once. Now moving into compatibility, the first thing I tested was Multiboot. This is pretty much the precursor to download play. Certain games would have a demo or like a multiplayer component that you could download to a second Game Boy. Unfortunately, this does not seem to work with the wireless link. It seems to boot up the Game Boy in Multiboot mode, but it never actually transmits any data. But most of those games support normal multiplayer, and that works just fine. Of all the games I tested, all of them worked without issue, except of course one franchise, Pokemon. For whatever reason, I could not get Pokemon to link at all, no matter how many times I paired, and that's extremely disappointing. I mean, that game even runs fine on the cheap $2 link cable, so I'm really not sure why it doesn't work on this. Some other game franchises may have this problem too, but unfortunately there's no compatibility list, so you don't know what games are going to be supported. So yeah, overall, final thoughts. This is kind of hard. If you know your game is supported, then this is a great option. It lets you play wirelessly, has pretty decent range on it, and even sticks into your Game Boy really well, so it's not going to get bumped and fall out or anything like that. I'm going to try to make my own compatibility list. I'm going to borrow a bunch of GBA games and test them all out. If you have a favorite multiplayer GBA game, please post it down in the comments, and I'll try to see if I can test it out for you. But yeah, if your game is compatible, this thing is actually really cool, especially for only $10 to $15. Unfortunately, since the company that makes it doesn't exist anymore, they're not going to make any more once all these are gone. So I say if you have a game, especially like Shining Souls 2, which has longer multiplayer co-op, then pick it up. It is really nice for that. But unfortunately, there's some games just won't work. So yeah, I'd say check it out. If you like it, then yeah, you can go ahead and buy it. I'll have a link in the description. And I guess I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.